What makes a sumo tournament unforgettable? Is it the courage of an injured Rikishi defying the odds? Or an epic playoff between undefeated titans? On the SumoSpirit channel, we present to you the 10 most electrifying sumo tournaments in history that left the world astonished. Top 10. Haru Basho 2023. Expectations soared with the absence of yokozuna Terunofuji, who withdrew before the tournament due to injuries in both knees. This left Ozeki Takakisho, champion of the Hatsu Basho of 2023, as the favorite to seize the yusho and move closer to yokozuna promotion. Other contenders included Sekiwake Kiribayama, Hoshoru, and Maegashira, such as Daisho. Would the throne of sumo find a new heir? It was an extraordinarily balanced tournament, with more than 5 Rikishi fighting for the title until the very end. The withdrawal of Terunofuji had opened the battlefield wide. Day 15. Daisho 12-2, Kiribayama 11-3. The best part? They had to face each other on the final day. In one of sumo's most iconic bouts, Kiribayama defeated him with a stunning Tsuki Otoshi. Both were 12-3. It was time for the playoff. After securing the tie by defeating Daisho with a Tsuki Otoshi, Kiribayama repeated the strategy, forcing his opponent to touch the clay and claiming the Emperor's Cup. Tsuki Otoshi again. It seems like the same bout as before. The arena trembled. The crown belonged to him. Top 9. Natsu Basho 2001. It was a monumental event for Yokozuna, Takanohana, and Musashimaru, who ruled sumo during that era. Takanohana, with 20 prior yusho, sought to reaffirm his supremacy after an 11-4 record in the Haru Basho of 2001, while Musashimaru, with 7 yusho, stood as a formidable rival. Two giants, one battlefield, who would prevail? Although the tournament's ultimate winner was Kaio, the Natsu Basho of 2001 remains iconic for the extraordinary courage of Takanohana, who, with a broken knee, managed to claim victory on the final day against Musashimaru. Pain turned into power, and power turned into legend. Takanohana entered the 14th day at 13-1, while Musashimaru was 12-2. Musashimaru needed a win to force a playoff. On this day, facing an aggressive attack from Takanohana, Musashimaru reacted quickly, causing the Japanese to fall, and now the tiebreaker was missing. Technique? It was Tsuki Otoshi. The worst part was that his fall caused a minor injury to his knee. In the decisive bout, with his knee heavily bandaged, Takanohana endured Musashimaru's fierce thrusts, secured a grip, and forced him to the ground with a dramatic uwatenage to seize victory and the yusho. The dohyo shook with history. Top 8. Kyushu Basho of 2022. The absence of yokozuna Terunofuji, who retired following knee surgery, represented a golden opportunity for the rest of the competitors. Ozeki Takakisho, with 2 previous yusho in Kyushu, was the favorite, especially after a 10-5 record in the Aki Basho of 2022. Sekiwake Wakatakakage and Hoshoru, along with Takayasu and Abi, were other possible contenders. This Kyushu Basho is remembered for its dramatic 3-way playoff between Abi, Takakisho, and Takayasu, the first in Makuuchi since 1994. The Senshuraku, with a triple, triangular tiebreaker, highlighted the tournament's intense competitiveness and unpredictability. First bout of the playoffs, Takayasu versus Abi. Abi, extremely clever, executed a hataki komi to sidestep Takayasu and then sent him to the clay with precise slaps, securing victory. Later, against Takakisho, Abi trapped Takakisho in the center of the body and gave everything he had. It was enough for Takakisho to retreat with his heels against the edge. A final push to the chest with an oshidashi sent him out, sealing the championship. With these 2 consecutive playoff wins, Abi became the new sumo champion for the first time and the only one. Top 7. Natsu Basho of 2012. All eyes were on Hakuho, arriving as the reigning champion after a 13-2 record in the Haru Basho. After Baruto's surprise yusho in January, it was anticipated that ozeki such as Kisenosato, Kotoshogiku, Kotoshu, and Harumafuji could mount a challenge, but Hakuho still stood as the clear favorite. The shock came with the historic triumph of Kyokutenho, who, at 37 years old, became the first foreigner to win a yusho as such a veteran seki to Ari in the Makuuchi division in the modern era. Kyokutenho, fighting as a Maegashira 7, kept a steady pace, capitalizing on 5 unexpected losses from Hakuho and 6 from Ozeki like Baruto. Final day fireworks, Kyokutenho over Goeido, the arena humming. His closest rival, also 11-3, was Tochiozan, unlucky enough to draw Kotushu. On paper, that's curtains. In reality, Tochiozan detonated the upset, toppling the big man and yanking the tournament into extra time. Cue the playoff. Deadlocked at 12-3, the Basho flipped into sudden death. In the playoff, Kyokutenho met Tochiozan head-on, a rock-steady Tachiai snuffing out the younger man's opening surge and walking him backward. Then, snap, Kyokutenho changed levels and feathered a perfect Hatakikomi, the slapdown. Tochiozan hit clay. Kyokutenho stood alone as champion. Top 6. Haru Basho 2017. The main spotlight was on Kisenosato, the first Japanese yokozuna in 19 years, carrying the hope of breaking the Mongolian hegemony and achieving a triumphant debut. Could history be rewritten? On this occasion, 4 yokozuna stepped onto the dohyo together for the first time in 17 years. Hakuho, Harumafuji, Kakuryu, and the newly promoted Kisenosato. Fortunately for many, Hakuho retired due to injury in the first few days. The tension was palpable. 4 titans, 1 battlefield. The champion turned out to be Kisenosato, in one of the most emotional tournaments ever witnessed. On day 13 against Harumafuji, when everything was very even, Kisenosato suffered a grave injury to his left shoulder, a pectoral tear and biceps damage. Many thought he'd quit, but he stepped onto the dohyo for 2 final bouts. Day 14 turned sour, a tough loss to a slumping Kakuryu. He needed to beat Terunofuji on the final day to force a playoff. Day 15 arrived, against Terunofuji, the stage of agony and glory. Kisenosato overcame the torment of his injury and defeated Ozeki Terunofuji twice in succession. First with a sharp Tsuki Otoshi to even the score, and then by throwing him down with a crushing Kotenage to raise the Emperor's Cup, Kisenosato became champions with injuries. The crowd roared, and sumo history was carved in fire. Top 5. Aki Basho 2016. At this time, there were 3 active yokozuna: Hakuho, Harumafuji, and Kakuryu. The Ozeki, Kisenosato, Kotoshogiku, and Goeido, latterly in Kadoban status, at risk of demotion, were contenders, but none were expected to seriously challenge the yokozuna. However, Hakuho didn't compete. The Aki Basho of 2016 is iconic for Goeido's Zensho Yusho, achieving the first perfect championship ever for a Kadoban Ozeki in sumo history, and the first since Musashimaru in 1994 to claim a first championship with a flawless 15-0 record. He defeated the yokozuna Kakuryu on day 12 with an Oshidashi, and he defeated Harumafuji on day 13 through Kubinage. Goeido closed the perfect tournament by defeating Kotoshogiku on day 15, taking advantage of Hakuho's withdrawals. Both warriors clashed in a battle of grips until Goeido managed to push Kotoshogiku out with a powerful Yorikiri, winning his first yusho with a perfect record. The dohyo trembled beneath his triumph. Top 4. Haru Basho 1960. The most anticipated aspect of this tournament was the clash between Yokozuna Wakanohana I and Yokozuna Tohinishiki, both at the peak of their careers. Wakanohana sought to consolidate his dominance, while Tochinishiki was renowned for his technique and experience. The epic showdown between these 2 undefeated giants, both at 14-0, culminated in a historic final bout. Day 15. Tochinishiki against Wakanohana. Wakanohana withstood Tochinishiki's technical thrusts, securing a grip and forcing him out of the dohyo with his own Yorikiri. Wakanohana achieved a perfect record, and the tournament is remembered as a historic duel between 2 legendary yokozuna. Wakanohana emerged victorious, claiming his 7th yusho in a tournament that marked the peak of their rivalry and the passing of the torch to Taiho. This was a pivotal moment in the Showa era, with Wakanohana cementing his legacy before Taiho would dominate the 90s. Top 3. Hatsu Basho 2009. All awaited with anticipation the return of Yokozuna Asashoryu after a turbulent year in 2008, marked by injuries and withdrawals that kept him out of several tournaments. His rival, the Yokozuna Hakuho, entered as the favorite after a 13-2 record in the Kyushu Basho of 2008, dominating sumo during Asashoryu's absence. Would the fallen champion rise again? After a stormy year full of retirements and doubts about his career, Asashoryu returned and delivered an impressive performance on par with Hakuho. Both yokozuna ruled the tournament, with Asashoryu losing only to Hakuho on day 15. leaving them tied at 14-1. Yes, on the 15th, with a surprising Yori, Taoshi Hakuho tamed his compatriot. The playoff would decide the yusho, and destiny leaned in favor of Asashoryu. 2 titans, 1 crown. After falling to Hakuho's Yori Taoshi on day 15, both Mongolians clashed again in the playoff. Asashoryu resisted Hakuho's grip, unbalancing him with a powerful Yori Kiri to seize the match. A roar of triumph thundered through the dohyo. Top 2. Hatsu Basho of 2020. Yokozuna Kakuryu entered as a solid contender, though often troubled by injuries. The Ozeki Takakeisho and Goeido, along with Sekiwake Asanoyama, were seen as possible challengers, but no one expected a champion to emerge from outside the Sanyaku ranks. Was an underdog ready to rewrite destiny? The Hatsu Basho of 2020 is remembered as one of the most astonishing stories in modern sumo. Tokushoru, a 33-year-old Megashira 17, triumphed against all odds, becoming the first champion from the lowest Makuuchi rank since Takatoriki in the year 2000 and the first from Nara Prefecture in 98 years. As a Megashira 17, Tokushoru delivered an exceptional performance, suffering only a single defeat and sealed the yusho on day 15 without the need for a playoff. His unique loss was against Kaisei on day 2, through Oshidashi. The last bout was one of the most emotional sumo moments. He faced Takakeisho in the playoffs. Takakeisho struggled to break free from Tokushoru's grip, but it was in vain. At last, the Ozeki crashed to the ground by Yorikiri, granting the Megashira his first title in the top division. A giant had fallen, and a legend was born. When he won, he couldn't help but cry with emotion. Top 1. Hatsu Basho, 2012. This tournament carried sky-high expectations centered on Yokozuna Hakuho, who at that time was considered nearly unbeatable. Hakuho arrived as the defending champion from the previous tournament and had already collected 21 yusho in his career up to that moment. The Hatsu Basho of 2012 is remembered as one of the most iconic tournaments of the modern era of sumo for several reasons. First, it represented a rare challenge to the absolute dominance of Hakuho, who suffered an unexpected streak of defeats that opened the gates to a shocking winner. But the surprise is Baruto, who fought as an Ozeki and ruled from the start with a chain of 14 consecutive victories. His unique single loss was on day 15 against Hakuho. Baruto aimed for the grip, but Hakuho, wielding all his experience, disrupted his balance and shoved him out with a decisive Yorikiri. Even though Baruto had already secured the yusho after his triumph on day 13 against Kotogoshiku, sealing the championship 2 days in advance, he was the second European to become sumo champion. These 10 tournaments are not just competitions. They are stories of resilience, surprises, and rivalries that have forged the legend of sumo. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the SumoSpirit channel for more content. See you in the next video.